Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Mel, and just want to take a second here to thank you guys for being subscribed to my email blogs and for reading those. And I can tell you, anything about writing and being a writer that, really warms my heart when people read my writing. And I never know who reads it. I have a lot of people subscribe to a lot of different things on my social medias and stuff, but I do know a lot of you follow me, and when you, even when you text me and just, or email me back and say, wow, I really appreciated that story. That really means a lot to me, so thank you. The last couple of stories I've been sharing with you guys, I've noticed there's just a lot more detail to them, and they're getting a little bit longer, so I figured in this season I would transition a little bit back to the videos. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because there have been so many details, so many details in the story, and what makes a story are in the details. What makes the story is the context of everything within the story. Hopefully just being able to relay some things here in a couple of minutes of a video will give you an idea of really just how God's working in my life, and make that a little bit more real and tangible to you, because that's really the point of what I do. For the first part of this story, last Sunday, I had my Bible on my coffee table, and occasionally God will kind of draw me to a particular book to study. And on this morning, I had kind of dropped the book on the table, and it kind of flopped open, and it flopped open specifically to the first page of a book called Nehemiah. And Nehemiah is a book I've come to a few times in my journey as a leader or in leadership development, because it's the story of a man who was living in Babylon. He was actually the cupbearer to the king, which was a pretty important role. Just a quick history: the Israelites had been in captivity. Babylon came over, took over everything. Jerusalem was destroyed, but a whole generation kind of has passed at this point. And there's some Israelites that are living, in Babylon very comfortable, and he was one of them. And but the city and the ancestry and all of that had been destroyed. So Jerusalem lay kind of in shambles, and they had just gone through the process of rebuilding the temple, and it was like beautiful and magnificent and whatnot. But it was placed on Nehemiah's heart to basically go to the homeland, go back to the homeland, leave Babylon, leave the comfort of his life, and rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. And it was something that he prayed over for a significant amount of time. I want to say it was like 3 months or so. And then before he left and made the trek, the king gave him everything that he wanted. And so he was given resources to take on this project. And then he gets to the city, and it's in shambles. And if you ever live in a place that's in shambles, not just, literally, but metaphorically too, it's a rough place from the standpoint of morale and just emotionally, and psychologically living in that kind of place. So this is what he arrives at, and he heads this project. And as you read the book, you see all the little pieces of building, a massive wall to protect the city. Having to recruit people to do it, having to deal with the political stuff that was going on there, having to deal with the enemies that were trying to keep them from rebuilding the wall, because if that happened, that was going to rebuild the morale of the people, right? And they were going to get stronger, and a lot of people didn't want that to happen. One thing that's always fascinated me about this story was it took 52 days to build this wall, which should have taken, much longer than 52 days. If you think about it, to build a wall around the city, you see construction going on all the time, and it's like forever, like years and years before anything gets done. So this number kind of always stuck with me. If you didn't know anything about me, I'm just really big on numbers, and I'm very big on time, and I'm very big on connections of time and numbers. That's why I journal so much, because I don't want to miss any details when I'm telling a story or going back, because I don't know what's important at the time or what isn't, so I just write everything down. And but this number 52 just kind of always just fascinated me. Like, wow, that that was a very short amount of time. It's not even 2 months, right? And just a lot can happen and be accomplished, with the power of God. And I remember one pastor telling me, or teaching on it and saying, Nehemiah prayed for 3 months, but the wall was built in less than 2 months. So who really built the wall? Was it Nehemiah? And we think, wow, no, actually it wasn't. It was God. It was God's hand in everything. Last Sunday, my new mentor is again vlogging his journey, and he's kind of recapping the week. And he says, it's been 7 weeks since, or it's been 7 days since the announcement, and we still have 50 some odd days to go. And as I heard him say that, I was like, wow, yeah, I was just reading about 52 days to build a wall. And I was like, wow, we have about 50 something odd days until this change starts. And I just, this is just what I do, and this is just how I roll. I go and count the number of days from that Memorial Weekend Sunday when he said that to July 17th, when this big change in our company structure is going to go down. And it was exactly 52 days. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, wow, Lord, what are you trying to tell me with that? Because I don't believe in coincidences. And I just really felt God say, I'm going to do something amazing in this rebuilding and this restructure and this renewal in the next 52 days. In not just your life, meaning my life, but in the lives of a lot of people that you see being affected by this big change. And that was like so super cool. I got super excited, and of course I messaged like all my prayer warriors and just said, look, this is just what happened. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because a lot of you again ask, how do you hear God's voice, and like how does these great things always seem to happen for you, and you always come out on top. And I'm like, the more I look back on my life, I want people to really understand it isn't me. This move to DC, it was only 7 months ago, you guys. I can't believe it. And I just did that live video on Facebook if you haven't seen it. But, it's been only 7 months. It's not a really long time. And here I am, number one in my role in my company, financially blessed, in a really good place in terms of the living arrangements and things. I just won my first trip to Costa Rica, and I've never won a trip. So it's like, how does all this blessing upon blessing just come? And it's not because of me. I have to take the steps of faith, and I'm telling you, those are not easy. Selling all my stuff, leaving all my kids, coming to a place I don't know anybody, and taking on a job I don't even know if I'm going to be good at. It isn't me. I'm full of fear and anxiety and sadness and loneliness and all the things that everybody else feels. I don't feel I'm any stronger or any smarter or any of those things. But I trust, like, every story that I tell is just, it becomes bigger and bigger because of God, and it becomes bigger and bigger because of my bigger faith. And that's what it comes down to. The nitty-gritty, this is the behind the scenes. And so if you've been keeping, in touch with me through email, I appreciate you and love you for that. Facebook and Instagram, that's the fluff, that's just like the inspirational quote here and there, and the cool pictures, and the testimony, the end testimony. But the behind the scenes, this is what my blog and my videos are all about. And so hopefully it speaks to you in some way, and hopefully you stay in touch and don't think I'm crazy. And if you do, I don't really care. Right. You guys have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. We'll see what happens in 52 days.